Hi students, so today we start optimization tutorial 4. Today I'm going to discuss convex functions, the general concept of convexity. I'm Dr. Ganguly. Now in today's tutorial we are going to cover convex sets, convex functions, concave functions and the convex programming problem. Now this particular tutorial goes with optimization lecture 4, so that's the lecture which covers the theory. That lecture is essentially titled Convexity. I'm going to put a link to that lecture in the description box and also in the end screen. So do check that out for the theoretical underpinning of all the solved examples I'm going to discuss today. So we are going to look at 8 examples to solidify the concept of convex sets, convex functions, and so on. Now let's start with question number 1, which is how many convex sets are there in these 6 sets shown here. Now, one of the things you need to remember in convex sets is that if there is a convex set, if we draw a line between any 2 points in the convex set, then that line also should lie within that convex set. That is the proof that the set is actually convex. So let us look at figures, for example, the rectangle here. In this case, if I take any 2 points x and y and I connect these with a line, the yellow line here, then this line is always going to be inside this set S. So essentially this is a convex set. But if I were to take this particular figure, for example, where the blue region is the shaded region is the part of the figure, then I can have a line which lies inside this set, but I can also have a line connecting 2 points inside the set, but part of the line is outside this set. So this particular set is not a convex set. So you see here the sets I have shown in red, these are convex sets because I can draw lines within these sets, and the points in the line, they all remain within the set. But then these particular figures which I have in blue here, you can draw some lines where the points which are there in the lines are going outside the set. So these 3 figures in blue are not convex sets. So essentially out of these 6 figures, 3 of them are convex sets, and that's the answer to this problem. Let's come to question number 2. Is the following function convex? And the function is x square plus e to the power minus x. Now, to find a function is convex or not, one of the things we can do is calculate its second derivative and then check for positivity of that derivative. So what we do here is we have f of x. So we immediately differentiate this function. So I get 2x minus e to the power minus x is 0. And then I further differentiate it and I get 2 plus e to the power minus x is the second derivative. Now, of course, I can realize that this particular function e to the power x, this is always going to be positive. That is an attribute of this function here, an exponential function. And therefore, the second derivative of this function here, this is always going to be positive. So this is a convex function. Now, if you want to check it out, you can actually plot this function f of x is ex. And if you plot it, you will see that this is positive in all situations. So if you go down into the negative part of the x domain, then what you are going to find is that the function value becomes smaller and smaller, and the function value goes almost to 0, but actually it never reaches 0. So that is something to remember, and it's certainly always going to be positive. Now I have plotted this in Wolfram and I have plotted this here. Now if we were to actually plot the function fx is x square plus e to the power minus x, then we see the function is going to look something like this. So this is the typical shape of a convex function, and for these functions you have a well-defined minimum point. Let's turn to the next question. Is the following function convex? And the function is f of x is minus x square. So again, what we do is we differentiate this function, we get minus 2x, we again differentiate it, we get minus 2. Now, of course, minus 2 is smaller than 0, so it is not a convex function, but you may know that this is actually a different type of function. This is a concave function. So if the second derivative is negative, then that is a concave function. And if we were to plot the concave function, it comes out something like this. So you can see in the case of a concave function, you have a well-defined maximum point. So it's kind of a flipped convex function. Let's come to question number 4, and this question is the following function convex or concave? And the function is f of x is x cube. So in this particular problem, again, I differentiate it, I get 3x square, second derivative is 6x. Now you can see here the value of this second derivative is going to be positive or negative depending on the value of x. So for example, for x greater than equal to 0, the derivative is essentially positive or greater than 0. So this is a convex part of the domain. So we can say when x is greater than equal to 0, this function here x cube is a convex function. And when the second derivative is less than equal to 0, that is when x is less than equal to 0, then this function is a concave function. Now question number 5 says show the following function is convex and the function is x1 square plus 2x2 square. So the previous functions were all functions of a single variable, so it was very easy to get the second derivative and check it out here. And of course you know that when you have a function in this form, a multivariate function, then you have to look at the Hessian matrix. So that's what we are going to do. We take f of x, we take the partial derivatives with respect to x1 and x2. So I get 2x1 and 4x2. We then take the second partial derivatives here to get the Hessian matrix. So once I do that, I get the H matrix to be 2, 0, 0, 4. And again, the eigenvalues of this matrix come out to be 2 and 4. Now, of course, if you know matrix theory, you know that in a diagonal matrix, I can immediately get lambda to be 2 and 4 because those are going to be the values in the diagonal. Those are the eigenvalues for a diagonal matrix. So again, the interesting thing here, of course, is that the eigenvalues are both positive. So this is a positive definite H matrix, and therefore it satisfies the condition of a convex function. Let us plot it in Wolfram alpha. We get a nice plot here. So very often you will hear that the convex functions will have a bowl shaped curve, and you can see here there is a bowl type of situation here, and of course there will be a nice minimum point which lies at the bottom of this particular curve. Now if you are interested, I would certainly suggest you learn the Wolfram programming language. This used to be called Mathematica some time ago, and of course you have recourse to this online tool which lets you plot functions and look at them. That's certainly a very good exercise which is there nowadays for students to check out. Now let's come to a more complex problem, which of course is a function we have been studying in this particular course and we will keep studying as an example. And this function is f of x is x1 square plus 2x2 square plus e to the power minus x1 minus x2. And we have to figure out if this function is convex or not. So again, what I do is I get the gradient and then I get the second derivative of this function, and then we get the Hessian matrix H here. So this Hessian matrix comes out in this manner: 2 plus this exponential term, the exponential term, and 4 plus this exponential term. Now we have to basically figure out if this matrix is positive definite or not. So this will be some exercise in math. So let's try to do that. So we take a look at this H matrix, and I can see here that I can make this matrix more nice and compact if I were to define this term e to the power minus x1 minus x2 as A. And I always can remember the fact that A is going to be greater than 0 because the exponential function is always positive. So then I can write H in a form like this, and then I want to actually find the eigenvalues of H and see if those are both positive. If they are both positive, then this particular problem is going to be convex, or I should say the particular function is going to be convex. So again, you know that I have to find the determinant of this matrix here, and the eigenvalues are going to be lambda. So I do that, I expand this out. So I multiplied these two terms here and subtract from it a square, And then it becomes a problem of essentially simplification of these expressions. So here I have multiplied it out and simplified it here. Now looking at this equation, you can see that it is a quadratic in lambda, and we will try to solve it in the next slide. So what I do here, I take this quadratic in lambda, I bring the lambda squared term here, the lambda term here, the constant term here, and then I use the formula for solution of the quadratic equation here. Now here I have simplified things further, so you can follow these steps and see. And at the end of all this simplification, I obtained lambda is 3 plus a plus minus root 1 plus a square. So these are the eigenvalues of the function f of x given here in red. Now of course we need to figure out whether these are positive or not. So just to check my math, I checked it out here. I put in the matrix and I again got the eigenvalues as 3 plus a plus minus root 1 plus a square. Now, of course, if I look at these two solutions for lambda, the positive solution is not a problem because this is always going to be positive. Remember, a is always greater than 0. So a is positive, so this is positive. But in the case of this particular lambda, I'm not totally sure because there is the 3 plus a term which is positive, but then I have to subtract this term here. So we do not know whether this is going to end up as positive or negative. So I tried it out for various values of a. A is 0, 1, 2, 10, and so on. And for each of these values, you can calculate lambda. So for example, if I put a is 0, this is going to become 3 minus 1, that is 2. If I put a is 1, this is going to become 3 plus 1, that is 4, minus root of 2, that is 2.5858. And then it continues on this path here, and as a becomes larger, so in the case a is 1000, lambda comes to 2.9995. So let's try to plot this and see how it looks. And I have plotted it here in Wolfram, and you can see that this comes out like this here. So if I plot it for a very high value of a also, it always seems to be positive. So at least from this picture I can say that this is a convex function. Now at this point I could have left it, but let us see if we can show this mathematically instead of just numerically and graphically. So I take this lambda here, and let us say what we want to show is that this is greater than 0. So I can write this out: 3 plus a minus root 1 plus a square is greater than 0. And then what I can do is I can take this root term to the right hand side. Now I see here that both these sides, they are going to be greater than 1 because remember a is greater than 0. So in that case, I could square both the sides and I get 3 plus a square is greater than 1 plus a square. I further simplify both these sides and then I do some cancellation of the a squared term. I get 9 plus 6a greater than 1. That becomes 6a greater than 1 minus 8, 1 minus 9, which is minus 8. I get a is greater than minus 8 by 6, or a is greater than minus 4 by 3. So in case this condition is satisfied, then this lambda is going to be greater than 0. And I fortunately see that a by definition is always greater than 0. Therefore, it's going to be certainly greater than this negative number. Therefore, I can say that this particular lambda is also always going to be positive. We have shown it mathematically. And so I can say that this function, which we will frequently use in this course, is actually a convex function. Question number 7 is that is the affine function concave or convex? Now the affine function is defined as fx is ax plus b. It's a typical line, and let's check this out. So I take this function here, I differentiate it, and I take the second derivative. And what happens is that the second derivative turns out to be 0. Now in this particular problem, what would happen is that this function satisfies the conditions of convexity as well as concavity. So this is a convex function. This is also a concave function. So it's a very interesting function actually. But one of the repercussions of this particular discovery is that in any convex problem, if we have linear functions of this type, then we know that that's a convex function also. So now let's turn to a problem such as this here, which is minimize f of x is x1 square plus x2 square subject to x1 plus x2 equal to 1. So essentially here we have a quadratic function which we need to minimize, and we have a straight line as a constraint, which is an equality constraint. So let's look into this problem. Now the first thing we can do is we can check out the function f of x and see it's convex or not. So again I can take the second derivative of that function, and I immediately get the H matrix as 2 0 0 2, and I know the eigenvalues are going to be lambda is 2 and 2. So this certainly is a positive definite H matrix. So the objective function is convex. It's a convex optimization problem, at least as far as the objective function is concerned. But we also need to check out the constraint. So if we look at the constraint side of the equation, we of course already know that linear functions are convex from our thinking and from what we showed before, because if you differentiate it twice, it's simply going to be 0. So essentially we have a convex problem here. Now in my previous tutorial, I actually solved this problem, if you remember that, using the method of Lagrange multipliers, and we had obtained the solution x1 star is x2 star is half. So that's the solution here of this convex programming problem. Now, one more thing to remember is that the line is also a convex set. So for example, if I have a line here, if I take any 2 points and I draw a line between those 2 points, that line is also going to lie within this line. So any point between those 2 points are also going to be part of the convex set, which is the line itself. So the line itself is a convex set. And of course, a problem like this, the solutions are all going to lie on the line, because to remember that when this problem is going to get solved, or at the point where it will be solved, the constraint has to be satisfied. So essentially any optimal solution lies on the line x1 plus x2 minus 1 is 0, and you can see that this particular solution here, x1 is x2 is half, does satisfy the equation of the line. So that's something to keep in mind here. So today's lecture we looked at some problems which basically cemented concepts about convex sets, convex functions, concave function, and the convex programming problem. Now if you can show a function is convex, it helps us a lot, because you know the local minimum is also global minimum and so on. And the theories and the algorithms which are out there, they tend to work very well when your problem is convex, at least if you're trying to find a minimum point. So if you have not looked at it, make sure you take a look at optimization lecture 4, convexity, for the theoretical part of this particular tutorial, and I will see you in my next tutorial 5.